Alistair Crowley.
He's not having a smoke.
Here.
John Emmett Souza.
Not that guy.
Magnuson. Just one name. All right, so
Enough of the Philosophers Club.
we shall begin the second half.
Are you here to read? Oh, yeah, okay. Well,
I don't listen to this one. And let's see, who am I? What am I saying that for? You know, I look in the mirror and I say that I know it's going to be a strange day. Who is it? Change the channel, you know. All right, enough of that. Cesar Love is coming up next to break us open here. A really well-known poet in the Bay Area and a very nice voice too. So, Cesar,
come on up and then.
So I'm here to also talk about an event, the San Francisco International Floricanto Literary Festival, which is going to be in the Mission District, May 14th, 15th, and 16th, sponsored by Alejandro Murguia and the Office of the Poet Laureate. So this is going to be really interesting. It's going to be, we got Ernesto Cardenal, who is 90 years old, a Sandinista poet. He's going to be in town. Luis Rodriguez Jr., Bonadit Cervantes, Jack Hirschman, and his panel of translators, and other people who have not yet committed, but we will know for sure tomorrow. So I'm not going to mention their names until next week.
Where will it be?
Some of it is going to be at La Buena, some at the Mission Cultural Center, some at Galeria de la Raza, Alley Cat Books, La Reina Bakery. We're going to have a reading at a panaderia.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
So Thursday night's going to be a crawl, a literary crawl, just put it on 24th Street, and we're taking over the venues, various venues there, including panaderias, coffee shops, and bookstores.
So you're going to be able to put a flyer out or something like that?
Yeah. I think tomorrow the publicity blast will begin. People are committing. We'll know. Okay. I also have some poems. El Dorado.
One part. Thank you.
El Dorado. Outside at first light, intent to explore the familiar at an unfamiliar hour. Intent to explore the familiar by an unfamiliar being. That amber glow which nuzzles the curve of the earth. I walk along my street and look upon the trees, the scars on their breasts, their broken hands and buried feet, creatures firm against the hours. I observe the fire hydrant, witness its worker body, its slumberless vigil. I behold the crosswalk and lamp, the stop sign and parking meter. I decipher their runes. I survey the asphalt, its amused wrinkles, its grandfatherly brow, pie crust for a savory earth. Shadows rise from the west. They accent the trees. Shadows dissolve in the morning, leaving me tall, leaving me stout. I emerge from my silhouette to stand on the street, my street paved with gold. Bowlfuls. My bowl cannot hold it all. I have apricots of melted gold, peaches happy as summer baths, pears that take you to a lover's road, plums thick and deep and sweet, the fur of God. I am so full, I cannot have another. I give them to neighbors, I give them to friends. I line their baskets, I fill their bowls. Flavor of lemon. Bake your pie of lemon. Invite the forbidden one over. There is no time for plates and silverware. Eat it with her as fast as you can. Destroy the evidence. Before she leaves, lick every crumb from her face. Cupid's dark twin hands you the handsome fruit. He tells you, smell it. Isn't this exquisite? I dare you to taste it, but if you like it, if you want more, laws will be passed against you. In a ball of innocent yellow, a flavor that strips your varnish. This is the taste of love's confusion. This is the taste of love's certainty. His nakedness that begs for sugar clothes. The sky will rain sour. No umbrella, no lifeboat. The lifeguards laugh. You must drown. Then bake your pie. Savor the last slice. Savor the last slice. Neither the jasmine. On warm evenings, I walk between these trees. Their jasmine flowers in night bloom almost bring me to you. The galaxies within your eyes, where planets loll along their shores. The small green dot upon your iris. There I breathed the midnight pollen. There I drank the forest rain. On my balcony, I hold a cup of tea. My cup could not hold you. Neither does the jasmine. Neither does the night. Sleeping apart. We cannot watch the moon together. Our balconies hold different skies. When I'm on the moon, you careen through the midst. You chase through the hours. My dreams conjure the hands, smoothing your dress. When you're with the moon, the sun bakes my sidewalk. The sun burns my shoes. The lake of your sleep brings me cool breezes and dandelion feathers found in my beard.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Woo-hoo. Clara Sue is our next poet of the evening. A gentle, penetrating voice. She's turning 37 in about a week or so.
27.
27. Well, you know, she tells me all kinds of stories. It's not my fault.
I'm happy to be here. My father passed away April 1st. He was 94. And so I'd like to honor him with a poem that I wrote for him in 2001 on Father's Day. He liked the poem very much. He had it framed and put it on his wall. And I knew the poem was not finished when I wrote it. And I finished it the day after he died. This is titled The Master. 1. In the morning he turned on the radio to the classical station. He would listen with his coffee and toast. At work, his machines cut wood and felt-tipped hammers wound strings on metal frames. Keys were repeatedly tapped until the strings were tuned. Among sawdust and sweat, he proudly checked his pianos before they left the factory's door. On weeknights, he practiced his cello. On weekends, he went to concerts. He preferred the company of music to the company of man. 2. In the afternoon, he held his spade, slowly shoveled toward the little red greenhouse William built in the backyard. A short, winding path led to 2 tiny steps. He climbed them carefully, left foot first, then lifted the right and brought them together, pausing between attempts. The night was warm. He had kept the fans on for the orchids. They needed cool air and ventilation. Exotic greens hung from the ceilings and on the walls. They were gifts from friends and orphans of deadbeat parents. The quiet was pleasing as he counted each bud and pruned out dead leaves. For flowers don't speak. They wouldn't drown his ears with sounds he no longer could distinguish. He wouldn't have to strain his mind to read people's lips, to put on a smile, to nod his head. For flowers don't sing. Their delightful petals bloom with silent praises to his good work. For flowers don't weep upon hearing news of friends departed, but bestow hope and splendor on life when it dims. Sundown and fog, he preferred the company of flowers to the company of men. 3. In the evening he prepared dinner, grilled salmon in the oven, tender greens and toasted nuts, cashews, pecans, and sunflower seeds. The radio played a cello tune, a fresh-cut orchid on the table. For his daughter was coming home, the wild flower with a head of dreams. He saw her flaws and weaknesses, but understood the sacred art of giving his heart and letting go, forgiving age and pardoning change. As he surveyed the simple feast, he preferred the company of his creation to the company of man. 4. He lay still on a hospital bed. His head fell on one side of his shoulder. That insatiable hunger had finally ebbed, except for the faces that flashed before him, loving, smiling, lively, beautiful. He laughed, reached out to grasp, and caught a thread as thin as air. He could still make something, and he would keep on making, for no work is ever done even when the work is done. He mulled over this dubious place where his body was confined. The seconds on his watch kept ticking, his pulse quickening, running, faster than time, leaving behind the sounds and the cries, the touch of gentle hands, leaving the disobliging machine to the company of man. Thank you.
Wow, amazing. Thank you again. Thank you all again for your attentions. E.K. Keith is the next poet up. He was only on the open mic, right? I assume. Yes. And then when we do the prize thing, we take care of it. Yeah, then we can do this one of these prizes. Yeah, okay.
Okay. So hello, everybody.
Sorry about that, we had a confab.
I had a little confab there. It was not exactly private. Hello, everyone on the internet. You're making me nervous, but I still like you. All right. So, it's April, in case you haven't checked your calendar lately. We're in the middle of April. I haven't done my taxes yet. That's after this. I know. I just don't like it. So, wait. And the 10th annual Palms Under the Dome is coming up on April 29th at City Hall. And at this point last month, I had a website. Everything was going good. All the ducks were in a row. And then everything fell apart. So, I don't have any flyers for you. So what I want you to do right now, okay, all of y'all are writers. I can tell just by looking at you. Right now, I want you to take out a pen. You too. Or you can type if you want. Take out a pen or you can type. You guys, take out your pens. Here's what you want to write down. Get out a piece of paper or you can type. All right, are you ready?
We're ready.
Ready to copy.
Poems Under the Dome. Yes. Poems Under the Dome. April 29th. It's a Wednesday. I know. Everything happens at the same time. 5:30 to 8 p.m. inside City Hall.
San Francisco,
California City Hall. This is not a hippie uprising on the steps. You have to go inside. inside. And please leave your guns and contraband at home because there are metal detectors at the doors. So, please show up. If you want to come a little earlier, like at 4:30, on the second floor in Supervisor Avalos' office, there's a reception. And after I read my poems, and at some point, one of the door prizes
One of these
today.
fabulous door
One of the
prizes.
fabulous, the more like abstract prize
Yes.
is actually a guaranteed reading slot at City Hall on Wednesday, April 29th. So that is one of your array of choices here in
And
the
I will
door
remind
prizes
you of that in
tonight.
a short while when we're handing out
Yes.
these prizes. It's not here, and therefore it's very important.
Yes. So it's pretty exciting. It's gonna be awesome.
Biggest
And
reading.
It's
Hundreds of
enormous.
people there.
It's enormous. But you know what? Okay, so last year was the 9th annual Bones over there. All but 5 people got to read, and that's because a bunch of people went over their 3-minute time limit. So we have gotten really close for many years of getting everybody up who hangs out. So it's from 5:30 to 8. Please show up. It's going to be really awesome. I'd be happy to exchange contact information so I can, let you know in a more formal way. But thank you for writing it down. I do appreciate your Luddite ways. You guys, I hope we're typing. All right. So what I really have enjoyed about this evening is all this philosophy talk, because I double majored in English and philosophy, and now I'm a librarian. So the other day, I went out to the internet, which is always kind of dangerous, and I discovered something funny that, well, first of all, raise your hand if you knew that Socrates had a wife.
Oh, well, we got three
Okay.
people. Oh, come on, you went like this already.
Xanthopy. Okay, so Xanthopy has had a little explosion in pop culture, because I don't have a TV, so I don't know pop culture. But apparently, she's all over the internet because there's some character on a TV show named Xanthopy. And so, what?
How do you spell that?
Well, one way to spell it is Xanthippe. Yeah. Transliteration, All right. So then I was like, what? Because I knew about Alcibiades, but like,
Oh, yeah, Alcibiades. Crying out loud, everybody knows about it.
So it turns out she.
Alcibiades?
No, I knew all about him. I didn't know about her. I was just like, what? Crazy. And I went to like a Catholic school where all we studied was the classics. How did I don't know how I didn't know about Socrates' wife. So this is called For the Love. Who?
I was going to say, it depends on what
Xanthopy?
that.
Nah, she was Greek, dude.
Well, it was a nag. It's Greek.
Now you
to me.
listen.
Hey, watch out.
This is For the Love of Xanthopy.
Okay.
Not a nag.
Pull your head out of that cave, my darling Socrates. There is more to the world than shadows no one can see, playing on the inside of your mind. You are the father of my sons, but you are full of shit. Apologize. Don't make me dump this chamber pot on your head. Don't talk about me like I'm the difficult one. Who keeps your house warm? Who keeps your belly full? Who endures the endless postulations about what the world is, how we know it, and what it all means? The world is smaller than we think, and it shrinks with every new person that we meet. And what it all means to a philosopher's wife is that any woman who can put up with you will be remembered as a shrew. Thank you. So I'm also writing a poem a day for National Poetry Month. That was my poem from yesterday. Okay. I wrote 2 yesterday. So I'll read the other one, which was a game that I played where I had 2 people give me 3 words each. Do you want to know what those were? It was
That'd be nice.
empty, bottle, sand, hot, water, and soap. And I was like, come on, you guys.
But they didn't do you a light bulb.
Well, I tried to be creative. Because, you know, why not? I tried. Time sands the rough edges off my manners. So I think about playing that empty beer bottle like I was in a jug band, but I don't do it because I'm so smooth, so cool, like this cucumber water I'm sipping now that all the beer's gone. Can you believe how hot it is already? Remember when people were still arguing that the climate might be changing? We were so soaked in denial for so long, for generations. But the hurricanes, the droughts, the floods, all at once now. Man, it's been a long, slow apocalypse. We do one more. I hardly ever do this many times. But why not? Why not? Okay, I have to. I'm going back in time here. Like these are. This is April. Yeah,
Back before the apocalypse.
Yeah, back before the apocalypse.
Apoplexy now.
Okay, wait. Okay, where did it go? What day was that?
It was the day before that other day.
It was, but it was the day after that other day.
Yeah,
So-
but I wasn't talking about that one.
Oh, Dan. Okay. Straight out of the notebook. Straight to you. April 7th. I want good people to get good press in proportion to the good they do. Bad people get bad press disproportionately, and now that press is pixels and anyone can publish anything, anytime, the body politic is overwhelmed by too much information, can't discern or prioritize. Where's the balance? What's the answer? It's the self waking to awareness of itself, of the world as we, frightened that there is no they. There never has been us and them, because it's just us. And here we all are together on a big ball of mud spinning in the unlikeliest of bubbles, breathing the cold vacuum spinning through space.
And like she said, one of the prizes that I'll remember to mention is the one that's not here, which is a guaranteed slot, reading it before the crowds of Home Dome, which is a great event. I will be there for a good chunk of the time. But
Right
I have
before
to
you
come
come
back.
here.
Right before I come here. And I'll be good Jennifer Barone, who will be our feature next week, right here. Okay, so we have two people before J.R. Hammond. We have Matt and then Garrett Murphy. Matt's coming back up. He was the keynote, you'll remember, but now he's going to read some of his works. And then we have Garrett and then J.R. coming up after that. And then these wonderful prizes shall be distributed.
So the first one I'm going to read was inspired by a slam poet named Bo Sia. Let's see. I was actually building off of what Clyde always was talking about earlier, about these yogis. It's called Inner Depth. I'm so deep that if Batman descended into my utmost depths, he would drown if left to his own demonic devices. I'm so deep that those tube worms, flushed bright red at the very bottom of the Mariana Trench, would die if they ever tried to survive in the depths of my innermost brain crevices. I'm so deep that I do yoga to provide me with some stress in my life. I'm so deep that I attract girls just by smoking a weed pipe. I'm so deep that if I let you know where I got these pants, you would need to listen to the stories about Dalai Lama and the monks and riding on elephants. I'm so deep That Om has no more meaning. I have transcended the illusion of reality by enduring all 4 seasons in deep meditation in Thailand, Cambodia, and Laos, so deep that stalactites and stalagmites hang at the entrance of my mouth. I'm so deep that I eat revelations for breakfast and carve sutras and construct stupas and wear Tibetan maid necklaces. Hey, now listen. I'm so deep that I've evolved past the rest of humanity. So, why don't you come back to my hostel and spend the rest of your night with me? All right, this one is called Note to Self on Getting Girls Out of My League. Start by laying down cash without inhibition. After all, these are just women raised in the society we live in. There's something about the purses and handbags that glitter that make me think that they are better than the girls I used to date in college over craft beer and mate. Those who wore Goodwill overalls and battered sneakers, unkempt hair and tie-dye t-shirts, who cared about politics and fucked like lunatics in the moonlit wheat fields in the dead of night. I'm still scared of the other, those made-up girls who get comfort from Starbucks lattes and Abercrombie lovers. I always dreamed that having a girl like that would turn me into some sort of welcome mat, stepping on me with high heels until I could excel at making her happy with a material. I've been told I want to love where I have to buy jewelry, little diamond necklaces of value illusory, placed in tiny turquoise boxes bound with my own incongruity. The type of reckless lust that comes after glimpsing bare breasts under my recently pressed mitered cuff button-ups. I've been told I want a girl who can sip on a girly drink without commenting it's a girly drink. That texts me things like, hey babe, wondering if you wanted to play tennis at the club, and I would respond, let me get my polo on and see you in a bit, hon, and drive down there in her dad's drop-top Benz with rackets in the back wearing my Ray-Bans. And when I arrive, I toss the keys to the valet with a $20 bill and say, keep the change. I've been told I want a girl who wears formal-looking pumps to a casual meal with eyeliner and lipstick and a waspy last name like Worthington or Fieldston or Harlington Vanderbilt. A girl that talks as if she's seen it all, even though she's been traveling only to the malls of Dubai, Singapore, Hong Kong, Macau. These girls will always haunt me, a reminder that I will never penetrate into this world because I associate all of these attributes with the aspects of America I've been taught to hate. Our Gadsby great failures of social advancement come down to my own lust and juvenile enhancement of everything I am not. Actually, I have just divined that what I really want is a girl who is not one of these debutantes. All this shit I've chased before are the things that my consciousness reveals to abhor, so fuck these ideas placed into my head. The idea that the superior is represented by cash and skin like Wonder White bread. Thank you very much.
Wow. This is one of them nights, and I'll say this is one of them nights. Garrett Murphy is next before J.R. Hammond, our mini feature, so give Garrett a nice round of applause. A wonderful great kid, and a real mean sense of humor. And I mean that in a good sense, because he can just say things, just get inside your brain.
You're in for a treat.
Kick things around a bit. Think, I never would. Oh, I should have raised that up for you. I'm sorry.
Derelict of duty.
I know. Luckily that job comes with beer.
In prison outside a cell. Let's talk about a special kind of prison. One that's so insidious most inmates don't know that they're in it, or know that they are their own correction officers. One's eyes and ears are more oblivious of their sentence than they would be to their own surroundings. The local color of the inmates and the language is as ripe as one might expect from a more obvious can. This is a jail that will never be on lockup, nor will it ever confuse orange with black. It is tighter than the most maximum securities, and yet can be broken free from with the mildest of ease. So come on, all you inmates, ease your way back to the outside world and get off that there cell phone. The secret prerequisite for passing the Law Enforcement Academy. Congratulations to all you recruits. With the passage of our secret requirement, you have officially fulfilled all the tests for being able to call yourselves officers of the law. Let the outside world believe that what we mean by the special elite, that we mean toughening one's mind and body via basic training, or being proficient in hand-to-hand combat, or being the crackest shot imaginable. It is really none of those things. Nor is it familiarity with police jargon or military jargon, or how well you can handle our numerous types of armament, or even knowing your badge's serial number. The most uncanny and savvy among you managed to figure it out. It happens to be how well you can tell a tall tale, one that moves our allies in court and politics to believe you when you can tell how to target reach for your gun, or try to assault you, or try to threaten you and others, and you can now tell a most compelling story using a specially bred imagination. That, rookies, is what really makes a good law enforcer. You have passed with flying colors. I am very proud of all of you. But just keep this in mind, officers. Real colors do not fly as gloriously as the ones you have just passed with. Nuts in charge. The world is in need of so many a thing. The times they are waiting in their crucial debut. Our survival as we know it is open to question, yet the nuts are in charge of the cookie jar. And the nuts are in charge of the cookie jar. And the nuts are in charge of the cookie jar. And the nuts are in charge of the cookie jar. The police have been turned into the heroes of the world. McCarthy has come to it to send his treason. A crisis has instructed leadership is sort of needed, but the nuts are in charge of the cookie jar. And the nuts are in charge of the cookie jar. And the nuts are in charge of the cookie jar. And the nuts are in charge of the cookie jar. The genocidal maniacs now have a field day. Respondents have because they feel they have nothing left to lose, so we claim them for the victims of oppressors instead. For the nuts are in charge of the cookie jar. And the nuts are in charge of the cookie jar. And the nuts are in charge of the cookie jar. And the nuts are in charge of the cookie jar. Now, if you see the profilers out licking the chops of all the dark tuna and nutritious on the menu, and you say it's okay that the tanning come in, then you must be a nut in the cookie jar. Yeah, you must be a nut in the cookie jar. And you must be a nut in the cookie jar. And you must be a nut in the cookie jar.
Garrett Murphy, thank you so much. And now, Mr. J.R. Hammond, who doesn't like being called all the other names that he used to be called, which I wouldn't repeat right here because they're genteel individuals who would look at me and say, those words came out of that guy's mouth? But we'll just say J.R. Hammond. Jimmy, we call him. Give him a nice round.
That's what we call other things. That's what it is. There was too many of them. I started to get so I went to one my mama gave me. Ah, look at that. Plastic, all of it, with no excuses, must carry a death sentence to be administered by nature or its makers. Herein forewarned shall be put to death. Plastic must only be allowed on Earth if it is reducible to its basic elements and thus dispersed as carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, chlorine, plus any and all of the other elements to their elemental solitude of existence, as was. If not accomplished immediately, especially if not with resistance by all producers, makers, inventors, and owners, management, shareholders, bondholders, lenders, to the enterprises of plastic. There are, including workers, to a lesser degree, because as sure as they may not be able to read, should exist from now under threat of death by execution and cremation under the rules of law by the court of science for making any synthetic compound so dangerous to nature as to be not biodegradable by the natural forces of air, water, sunlight, plant, animal, or fungi. The great current mass of it must be regulated and accounted for more diligently than any drug, any outlawed or prescribed by physicians, or any radioactive isotopes, or any great explosives like the dynamite, thermite, or thermate, or the plastique, or missiles with which to deliver. Plastic never dies. It only becomes smaller. In that way, dangerous and useless. 3,000 miles of it gyre in the central Pacific Ocean. It is disposed of recklessly as if it is benign. Nothing could be farther from the truth. Molecules of plastic float upon water and rise up in the soil. Filaments down to the invisible molecular level float on the air like sunbeams to be ingested by mites, riding upon the drafts we make at home, carried off by bacteria, viruses, and fungi spores. Famously, the albatross feed larger chunks of plastic to their chicks, who then die from its indigestible permanence. Of much greater danger is the wearing down of polyesters, nylons, and the like, chunks of foam, tire dust, wearing down the shoes, threads and treads, wrappings, sheets, medical supplies, bags and baggies, rope, auto parts, boats, containers, and on and on. Nothing of this will biodegrade. It is all a permanent additive, as long-lasting and more pervasive and relentless than radioactivity. 500,000 years may not do it. It may last forever, the way granite or air or water lasts. Plastic molecules can be found in our bloodstream, our fatty tissue, our stomachs, lungs, intestines, and our brains. Can this ingested junk possibly be benign? How many cancers could be reduced to pathogens? Plastic. Can molecules of useless, non-biodegradable plastic in animals, such as plankton and krill, and the ocean's filters, such as oysters, clams, crayfish, lobsters, cause the death to travel up and down the food chain? Polluted krill might be driving whales to suicide upon the beaches, or weakening immune systems by creating false alarms via hormones, fight and flight, and clogging livers and kidneys. The Middle East may have already been overdosed, like Iraq, by undepleted U-235, and like Vietnam, by Agent Orange. Chemicals bringing bad things to life. Part 2. Tio had seen it all. The impossibility of financing the ejidos, the communal farms of Mexico, legally prohibited. The hard, ain't it hard, skimpy soil. The rigid, the rapid population growth and apparent democratic bickering and ineptitude of novitiate amateur agrarians only knew what they had grown before, like corn, cows, goats, chickens, on a sustainable basis, but not industrial. Let them experiment. The elites must have smirked. 3. A crazy, long-haired vet in a wheelchair on 10th Street at Mission rolls along, scratching parked cars at night. Hey, it's scary after dark out there. With a kitchen knife as big as his foot. Someone calls it in. This is the way to Atherton and other points south. The day is over. The cops come in twos, in 4 cars, 2x4s, and they get scared. The crazy, shell-shocked vet has seen too much murder. A vet. He waves his knife. He's scared. 8 guns blast him into oblivion. 22 hits pop him out of his wheelchair. Raising another cause. White vets matter. Arabs matter. Cambodians matter. Okinawans matter. Africa matters. The little fishes in the deep, dark sea matter. Aquifers matter. Soils matter. Dead zones in the deltas, oceans, prairies, forests, cities blend into free fire war zones. Battered women matter. All emitted from the dead zones of our brains. Yes, brains matter.
Keep your hands, ladies and gentlemen. All right. That brings us to the closing tradition of this evening. And if you read, that means you signed this, and next to your name is a number. And as you'll note,
There are numbers on this card, and I'm shuffling them randomly before your very eyes. Look, there's nothing up my sleeves. Could you cut those, please? There's always one of them in the crowd. Right over here.
You're a poet, it's prose.
Yes. Thank you so much. Now, just very quickly, I'll review these wonderful prizes which were designed with your mind in mind. The Golden Ass. This is not about George W. Bush. Poetry and poetry. More poetry. 100 Journeys of a Lifetime. So these are places that they say you'd love to go there. Look at that picture. Is that the natural